Sometime in Israel's history, a mysterious plague ravaged the land. In those days, diseases dictates one's fate. A group of outcasts find themselves united in exile. These lepers are not just victims of their illness, but also pawns in the broader game of political maneuvering. Among them is Arian, a former priest whose faith was tested and tarnished, forcing him into this forgotten world. As the sun rises over the barren landscape, Arian gathers his fellow outcasts and tends to their needs, recalling rituals from his past life as a healing balm for their physical and emotional wounds. He listens to their stories, their dreams shattered by their status as pariahs. Across the kingdom lived a judge, a man hailed as a hero for his triumphs over previous plagues, finds himself isolated in his opulent chambers, disconnected from the very people he once swore to protect. The tale of the lepers reaches his ears, whispering of forgotten souls, condemned more by circumstance than contagion. The judge, caught in a web of his own making, is drawn towards them, contemplating a journey to the outskirts, where fate and fortune remain unwritten. As our story continues, we meet a wordless prophet, a man struck mute by leprosy, yet imbued with divine visions of Israel's fate. Despite his inability to speak, his eyes convey an urgency understood by many, as they foretell impending judgment upon the land. Meanwhile, within the bustling city, the halls of justice are tainted by greed. The Pride family, wealthy and influential, manipulate the city's judge into making rulings that favor them over the needy and innocent. Their corruption festers in the courtrooms, spreading injustice like a plague. Among those quietly observing these injustices is a young scribe named Elisha. Tasked with recording the court's proceedings, Elisha bears witness to the moral decay permeating his society. He starts to question the true meaning of justice and the roles of those who wield power. One day, as Elisha leaves the city gates, he encounters the wordless prophet. There's an indescribable connection. In those eyes, Elisha sees reflections of his own doubts and fears. The prophet, though speechless, conveys a clear message of change and redemption through gestures and expressions. Inspiring a silent vow within Elisha, he decides to follow this enigmatic path of truth and integrity, guided by the visions of a mute man whose silence speaks volumes. The Pride family gathered in their opulent dining hall, celebrating their wealth and influence. Feasting together, say to themselves, "To us." The backbone of this nation's fortune, the architects of its greatness. Meanwhile, in exile, leper leader. Every night they dine and drink, while we scavenge scraps just to stay alive. Tonight must be different. Tonight we make them listen. Word of the lepers' distress had reached the edges of the city, whispering through the alleyways like a chilling breeze. A confrontation loomed, hovering like a storm cloud over the Pride's ill-fated feast. Back at the Pride residence, a knock at the gates interrupts the celebration. "Who dares disturb our feast?" One of the Pride's family members says. "Leper leader, the voices you haven't heard, the faces you ignore, the hands that have built what you so proudly call your own." As the two worlds collide, pride clashed with resentment, each side seeing reflections of their fears in the other's eyes. But just as the brink approached, grace intervened. An elder within the family steps forward. "Listen, pride unyielded breeds arrogance. A feast blind to hunger creates enemies, not allies. Sit. Let us talk, for in understanding we may find peace." And so, under the same roof, two different tales began to weave together. As whispers of dissent ripple through the towns and cities, we find our protagonist, the judge, standing at the crossroads of history. His recent edicts, intended to maintain order, have instead sown seeds of rebellion. The brave young scribe, cloaked in humility and cloaked for protection, moves through the shadows. He's on a mission, one fraught with peril but driven by duty. In his hands, a message. A whisper from the ostracized lepers who have seen the world through untainted eyes. This message, though somber, speaks of two possible futures. One forged in the fires of repentance, the other a path to inevitable ruin. The scribe arrives at the doors of the elders. "Honored ones," he begins, his voice steady despite the tremors beneath his feet. "A word from the unseen. those whom you and I have long forgotten. They call for a return to grace, a repentance for the wrongs that have birthed this contagion. Without it, they foretell nothing but ruin. The elders, vying between self-preservation and the greater good, are silent. Finally, one elder speaks, "We must right our wrongs. This plague, this divide is of our making." And so a decision starts to form, setting the stage for what could be redemption or destruction. The mighty Judge Pride stands at the apex of authority, his gavel echoing just as his verdicts have over the years. Judge Pride. The scales of justice must always find their balance. I am the embodiment of that balance. Whispers of corruption and betrayal snake through the city. The proud judge is undisturbed until now. Accuser. Judge Pride, your time has come. You have judged many. Now you shall be judged. Russet shadows fall across the courtroom as revelations of Pride's past manipulation and hypocrisy unfurl like a tapestry of deceit. Judge Pride, exiled to darkness, where shadows speak truths I once silenced, I face the faces of those I condemned. Amongst the outcasts, Pride's humanity is stripped bare, left to reckon with the ghosts of his judgments. Back at the sprawling Pride estate, fractures deepen, loyalty falters. In the absence of their leader, the Pride family claws at its foundations, secrets unraveling. Family member 1, it was you who brought this upon us. Family member 2, we need unity, not division, lest we crumble under the weight of our name. From the edge of exile, Judge Pride watches as a new cycle of power begins, the crown from which ash falls endlessly. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, and share for more biblical stories. Until next time, remain blessed.